My name is Daniel Darwin.
My name is Julian Nebrija is the full name.
I'm otherwise known as Astro Boy. I hula hoop on fire for a living, and I do theater, and I live in Manila.
I'm transitioning more into how arts and culture transforms our city. And I've found my home in Malate. As someone who never had a home, that has been one of the most special things to me, I think, is like I'm part of something. That's my favorite part about being Filipino.
The title of our podcast is called In Fairness. In Fairness as a phrase is completely, I think, individual to Filipino culture. It's like an English phrase that is Filipino.
It starts off like the traffic is terrible and like, you know, the pollution is bad and it's difficult sometimes, but like in fairness, I love it.
In Fairness with Julia and Daniel.
Whoops.
Hello.
Oh. Happy Monday, everybody.
Welcome to In Fairness with Daniel and Julia.
Yeah, good. He still knows my name. That's like, we're doing good. We're doing good here. Contrary to our, what is that called again? The billboard? I keep getting it wrong.
OBB.
The OBB, where I talk about how
OBB
traffic,
GYN.
even though we have traffic, but we still love Manila anyways. Today's episode is dedicated to the commuters out there.
Yeah,
so
man.
This is for you, the 80%.
Cheers to the 80%.
To the 80% of us who are commuters in this city, cheers, happy Monday. You were able to rest all weekend long before getting back to the grind of commuting in Metro Manila.
You rock. Julie and I are both commuters.
Yeah. Neither of us own cars. I've never owned a car,
I
actually.
own a car. I won a car. I won a Chevrolet.
Oh, yeah, you did have a car, but you didn't drive it, though.
No, I promptly sold it. Like, I won it and was like,
what would you do with it?
Dad, do you want a car? And he was like, yeah. And I sold it to my dad.
Oh my God.
Because what the fuck would I do with a car? I don't know how to drive. I mean, I know how to drive, but I should never be behind a wheel.
Right.
I drove for 1 year in Manila, and driving in Manila it's like driving bumper cars. So.
But, I mean, the reason why I don't drive is not just because the driving is difficult, but because it's like, to be trapped in a vehicle all day long, I would rather be sandwiched in on an MRT. I'd rather be, in a tricycle.
I'd rather be
walking.
anywhere.
I've actually walked before from the fort to Rockwell because I was like, I'm not gonna get in a cab. I'm not gonna like mess with trying to get through on, a Jeep. So I walked. I figured out, and if you just like follow people, you follow the workers. If you follow the construction workers, they
you will
know
get
the path.
to where you need to
They
be.
know the path, and it was underneath a flyover.
No way.
Like you were going counterflow by foot, like 3 people deep, like counterflowing on the underpass, like on the road in the underpass to get into Rockwell.
Yeah, I walked here today from my apartment because it's just like it takes me 25 minutes to walk, and it would take me 22 minutes to take a cab here.
Yeah.
And there's no jeepneys because, yay, Makati.
Yeah, exactly, because of pollution, so they want to put the jeepneys. So usually, though, riding the MRT, LRT is the better option. Unfortunately, recently, that has not been the case. We have had a number of unfortunate incidences, starting with transportation, just major mishaps in the last couple of weeks, starting with
including but not limited to
the MRT unfortunately overran its boundary. There's a number. It's basically what happened was there's some switches. There's the picture. That is as if the subway is underground. It's as if
the subway came up through.
It's like, yeah, I mean, this train just basically went completely over.
With people in it.
With people in it. So it's supposed to be that these 2 switches go, they switch and then the train goes one way and then it goes the other way. But somebody didn't do the little unlocking thing and the relocking thing. And so the train just went through its boundary, unhinged into the main artery, which is EDSA.
Is that what you heard happened?
It couldn't even be that is what happened.
Well, because I heard something completely look at this shit. It's like Pacific Rim, I swear to God.
Yeah, it's like
this is like some Gojira shit.
It is. It's Jumanji.
Yeah, it's like giant mosquitoes.
It's Jumanji.
With the Kirsten Dunst neck.
But I mean, it's not funny because 38 people were injured. Thank God no one was killed.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Oh
I mean, honestly.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And like the fact that the train.
Who, like 12 of her, or 11 of her friends were in that front girl car.
Yeah, we're in the front, because the front car is for women only, right? And so.
Which we'll get to later. Which is like a thing that we should discuss.
No, I love the women-only car. It's like so nice.
The need for it, the sheer need for a car dedicated solely to unmolested women is like mortifying.
It is. It is a bit mortifying. I mean, it is. I can see it though, where like I've seen the positive and the negatives about that because I've been on it. In fairness, I've had a man put his boner like up against me and like there's nowhere for me to go because I'm like so sandwiched in, you know, and he's like sort of like grinding up against me on the MRT. But then on the other side of it,
lucky bitch.
So lucky, so lucky. On the other side of it, I've been on the MRT and I've been in the men's car where they're like so protective of me that they even formed like a wall around me and they're like, ma'am, like you shouldn't. You know, like what are you doing? Like,
why are you
number one, why are you here?
We are barbarians.
Like, where are you going? Why are you even on the MRT? You know, so that they formed this wall around me to sort of protect me until I got out to where I was going. So I mean, you know, we can see both sides of that. But I mean, the fact that this thing derailed on EDSA, the main artery
what I heard happen. What I heard happen was that what I read happened. It's like an urban legend at this point. Who really knows what happened?
Right.
It's all too good to believe, basically. But what I heard happened was that the train itself lost power, and so rather than getting everyone off the train and putting them back in, they attached it to another train, and then that's what came uncoupled.
Ah.
So it wasn't like the shifty railway thing. It was like the like they were trying to like tugboat it along, and then something happened, and then everyone was disaster.
I've actually been on the train before when it did lose power for like 10 minutes.
Unbelievable.
And you're just like trapped on there.
Do you know why? Because the MRT is 16 years old and has never once had a bath, like has never once had any updates to its budget.
Yeah.
The original like capacity was what, 320,000?
320,000, and we are clocking in at 560,000
commuters.
560,000 commuters because, you know, owning a car is expensive. Owning gas is expensive, or buying gas is expensive. Owning gas, I wish I owned gas. I mean, that'd be
we have
that would not be expensive. That'd be lucrative.
Can you imagine being a taxi driver?
Yeah, I mean, so not everybody can afford a taxi. The jeepneys don't go everywhere, and if you want to go really long distances, the MRT and the LRT, when they are full functioning and you don't get one of those shitty days, is still, in my opinion, the best way to get around the city. Like,
I agree.
I would not live anywhere that was not within easy access of an LRT or an MRT elevated rail to get around the city. It is still the best way. I'd rather be there in a crammed car than be sitting in a taxi cab by myself in the middle of EDSA just being like, well, I don't know.
But do you know what 560, I don't know if all of our viewers can envision 560,000 passengers a day. So Julia, in her infinite wisdom, has found a video for us.
In case we are wondering what this frustration really looks like, in case we really need to understand.
Like, stop bitching about Manila's transportation. Yeah,
I mean, and this is one of the more popular stops on a rush hour day, North EDSA, but this video went viral recently, and we'll just...
This is on like a work day
We're just going to roll.
It is
this is a work day morning. So we're starting, and you know, you're thinking that it's going... I'm pretty convinced...
It's weird that there's a line outside of the station to begin with.
That the only reason that there's not a revolution yet for this is because if you didn't have 3G and your iPhone, or not an iPhone, but a smartphone and Facebook, you would not just line up in this. Like, this is madness.
Understand.
It's still going.
Understand.
I'm several sentences in, and like it gets wider.
Oh, it's like four people deep.
It's getting
four people
wider.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder, just waiting. That's even just to buy the ticket to then get into the metro.
Then they have
and
to
then
follow
wait
line
for a
again
train.
With the ticket.
Yeah, and then you have to open your bag, and then it loops onto the other side.
So you finally get to the station, and then it starts again facing the other direction. Unbelievable.
Can you imagine twice a day you do this going to and coming from.
80% of our society takes
80% spends like 3 to 4 hours in commuting. It's like 100. Some lawyer recently calculated it. It's 11 years of your life spent commuting, which he equated it to higher sentences, higher prison sentences than some murderers. So you are basically captured for 11 years of your life in this commuting cycle,
Unless
which is longer than some
prison
sentences, And so, this is the context that we're working within. And granted, this show is supposed to be about unfairness, and there's a lighter side to it. We don't want to just be another group complaining all the time, but this is a reality, and it dictates how we move around.
Yeah.
It dictates the decisions that you make. It dictates, how you choose to live your daily life. We actually, last week after the show, we were wanting to wait out traffic, and so we're like, what can we do to wait?
Yeah, we wrapped at like 6, and you're not going anywhere until like 8:30 or 9.
Yeah, so
because
we're like,
it's gridlock.
Yeah, we can spend 250 pesos on food, or
get a massage,
or we can spend 250 pesos going to a new massage promo happy hour place.
Super awesome.
Which was so not as sketchy as I thought it was going to be for
having like super sketch.
20% discount happy hour special soft opening.
Yeah. I don't know about the words soft and opening.
Soft opening massage parlor.
Massage parlor. Yeah. But we tried it out and it was amazing. And then and then I walked home.
And then we got out and we walked home. But this is not our reality of this like 2 hours on an MRT and then. No, because at the end of the day, you and I can still afford to take a cab. Exactly.
At the end of the day, you and I could probably make it work if we bought a car. But the truth of the matter is that we refuse to get a car because we should live a city. I mean, the word should, right? But we should live in if a city has this many people, there should be a means of public transportation. Almost every other big city, metropolis in Southeast Asia has a perfectly functioning public transportation system.
Well, it's not only a right, to have this safe, affordable transportation, but the thing is, the reason why you come to a city is to be able to do things like not have a car. Like people live in New York City specifically because they don't want to have a car.
Exactly.
People are coming up with all these solutions for mobility because people are like, you know what? I don't want to be tied to a car.
No.
Like, I don't want to have to worry about parking. My friends in LA, all they talk about all day long is parking.
Yeah.
Where are you going to park? How are you going to park? Who's going to park? How much are you going to pay for it?
How are you going to pay for the gas? Like that's another thing. So I know.
How are you going to pay for the whatever? I mean, an MRT at the end of the day is still 12 pesos for most of the places that you go to.
Yeah. It's amazing when you can stomach the 3 hours of line.
But that's why 80% of the people are using it.
Unreal.
I mean, I've been like, and granted, not having a car has been a decision, but I really stand by it. At the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, there's been, I don't know. We all have our like craziest Manila commuting stories, but I was stuck on the corner of Osmeña and Buendia, I think, over by Malugay, where like there's the collective and everything.
Yeah.
And it was 5 p.m. on a Friday, and there was just no chance.
There's nothing. There's
a meeting had fallen through, and I wanted to go home, and it was like, well, I guess I can stay here till like 9, but I'd rather go home. And I was like really calculating in my head, like how long would it take me just to walk, right? And it would have taken a really long time, and it's like not like it's like a straight wide sidewalk that gets you there. So I'm like looking at buses. I had already taken a bus from one side of the city to the other. I didn't want to get back on a bus because I was just not in the mood for it. And then there was no Jeeps going in my direction. So I just stood in the corner and started flagging down motorcycles. Like any motorcycle that had another helmet like on its side and the back, I was just like,
oh my God.
On the corner of the street, just like flagging down. And finally this one guy agreed. I got in the back of his motorcycle, put his helmet on, and he took me all the way home.
Are you serious?
He was going to Quiapo, but instead he dropped me at my house. And then afterwards, when I took the helmet off, he didn't even ask me for payment. As I took my helmet off, I put like 100 pesos into his helmet. And he was like, okay. Like,
that is so nice.
Yeah, because it's like, I also take those guys over at Ayala. When you get off of the MRT at Ayala station, there's no connection to go into the fort.
Right.
And so you have to either wait in line for the bus, which then
Which is a
which
nightmare.
then shuttles down McKinley Road, and McKinley Road is lined by two different private subdivisions, two different private villages that refuse to open their gates to the masa. They refuse to open. They're actually coming up with their own transportation plans just so that they don't have to open their gates, because like a major way to like make connectivity work more would be to open up the gates of those gated villages, right? So you like there's 2 lanes between 2 subdivisions, and every single time that one of those SUV, Rolls Royces, whatever, wants to come out of like Forbes, they have to stop all of the other traffic to let the one guy out, you know.
Oh my
so you're
God.
stopping all the way on the way. So it takes forever. It'll take like 30 minutes just to go on that road if I take the bus. So they have all these hobble motorcycle guys outside the MRT station, and you can just pay one of them 30 pesos or 20 pesos to weave you very safely. You get a helmet. It comes with a helmet.
Okay, 30 pesos comes with a helmet. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not safe, but like that's the end of, you know.
But nothing is safe. Did you know that the leading cause of death for men, like between the age of 25 and 40 in this country, is motorcycle accidents?
Yeah, it's motorcycle accidents. After like heart disease or something.
Yeah. So the number 2.
Number 2. It's number 2.
Okay, it's number 2.
Yeah.
But the point is that when I moved back here, my parents live off of this giant 8-lane on either side, so 16-lane highway called Commonwealth, and it's flanked on either side. If McKinley is a 2-lane street flanked by Forbes and Das Marinas, you know, the 2 richest gated subdivisions in the country. Commonwealth is this 16-lane highway flanked by 2 of the largest squatter developments in the country. So all of these shanty like communities, and people just fucking book across 16 lanes of traffic because they can't be fucked to like climb
because they give you pedestrian overpasses. Like those things are so difficult to use.
And like half the people are like with caretons, you know, they're like trying to lug their wares across, and they want to visit whatever on the other side.
Business. God forbid they want to have business on the other side.
There's no street lights. You gotta cross. You just gotta risk it, man. And you see people like with babies just fucking chucking, you know,
across the whole lanes.
My first year back here, I saw like at least 8 dead motorcyclists and at least 4 dead people on that road.
No,
it's
for
unbelievable.
Sure. I mean, I see all the time, and I bike actually. I mean, not motorbike, but I bicycle. And,
what must that be like?
Well,
man?
I mean, so there's a number of bike groups here that do like big bike rides, and those are kind of fun when you're like bulldozing down the street, like 40
when you can
deep,
gain, what's it called when you like take maximum or momentum, critical mass.
Critical mass, there you go.
Killed it.
Good thing we're not trying to start a revolution because we don't even know the terms.
We are trying to start a revolution. We'll get there later.
Yeah. But the biking in Manila, I mean, I love biking in Manila because it's like the best way to see life in Manila. I mean, everything that's interesting for me is happening on the street level. You know, like we don't have that issue where our streets aren't occupied. You know, like we don't have dead streets. Like it's super vibrant. All of the culture is happening on the streets. And on a bicycle, you can experience that when you're in a car.
Yeah, like in 5 senses.
When you're in a car, it's like you're so separate. It's like you're seeing it in vignettes through a screen.
Yeah, it's like you at the wheel or like you behind a driver.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're taking up so much space in the road.
Yeah.
And there's like 8,000 people in the MRT watching you.
Right, and I mean, the thing is that with the biking, it's not, it's still not to a point where you could use it to like go to work. Like I still have to take a cab to go to work because if I took a bicycle to go to my meeting this morning, I would arrive like so sweaty, so disgusting, like
covered in bruises,
so hassled. Oh. And of course, you know, I've been fortunate enough, like knock on wood, that I haven't had any major accidents because I bike at night, I bike, you know, during the day, whatever. I was biking home last night was that last night? Yeah, from San Antonio Village to Malate, and I had to go down Osmeña, which was terrifying because I thought that it would be like the easiest thing at night, but there was all the trucks were out. And
oh my God, that is so terrifying.
And then to get close to the sidewalk where you should be biking, there's like a million potholes because it's that whole informal settlement public housing area right there. And they've like basically undone all of the piping that's not working. So there's all these like open holes like close to the sidewalk where the sewage is supposed to be. So I was like navigating around with my little like blinking light, like bar, 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 bar. Like what the fuck are you doing? Like what are you doing on this road? Like everyone who was like going by me was just looking at me like, really? You know, like really the only thing that was actually lighting it was the giant LED screen of like Emma Stone and like her Revlon ad at the very end. Like I could just see Emma Stone like
and
she
shakies.
Was, like, and shakies. Those were like the ends of the light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Oh my God.
I'm just like biking towards like
though? Isn't Emma Stone the light at the end of the tunnel?
I don't know, maybe. She was for me last night, but
Beautiful.
It's difficult. I mean, and I've been lucky enough not to have any serious accidents. Of course, the one time that I wipe out, I'm talking like face first, just like bruise on the knee, just like totally discombobulated out from underneath me was my own fault. So it wasn't even like I tried to get up on a sidewalk and I clipped it just in the side.
Yeah.
And it was and the funniest part about it was like it was in the middle, it was standstill traffic. So like all these people are just watching this white girl just like wipe out on Carino Avenue, and I'm just like splayed on the sidewalk and I had actually, the reason I had fallen forward is because I had my MacBook Air in my backpack and I didn't want to fall on my MacBook, and I was like, my knees will heal, my computer will not. Like I saved so long for this computer. Like I sacrificed like my front of my body to fucking Apple. You know what I mean?
Tear me to shreds, save my computer.
Just save my laptop.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's not easy biking either, but it's a nicer way to experience the city, but you can't use it for every day, like bringing your kids to school. I mean, people do it obviously, but it's not, it's not that easy either.
It is interesting to take the MRT as a half white person, though. Do you get looks?
Oh, people are like confused.
People are so confused to see me on it because
they're like, why are you here?
Yeah, but in my mind, it's like, why would I be there when this is so cheap and like gets me where I need to go? Yeah. I don't know. It never even crossed my mind.
And you're with people, like being isolated in a cab.
Yeah, you feel like you're part of something. You feel like you're part of the city. When you're in a car, it's like being in a gated community. Yeah. It's like being in a subdivision. It's just like, yeah, I don't need to be part of the city. I got my metal like shelter, you know?
I have to say, I mean, sometimes though, like when I borrow, like when one of my friends is out of town and they're like, oh, my driver's just sitting around, like just take my car somewhere, and I do. It's like,
that's really nice.
It's like a real luxury.
It's really nice to get a car and a driver.
Like you can do 4 things in one day.
Nah.
Yeah, four whole things in one day. Yeah. And it's so conflicting because you want to be like, I have to stick to my morals, you know?
Yeah, right. Like, but isn't that just
like if someone dropped an SUV and a driver with like aircon and like TV screens in your lap tomorrow, it would be a hard decision to say no. It would be.
I feel like I would say no. Man.
I would say no anyways.
I just feel like I would say no.
I would say no as well because there's a certain freedom too, I think, to moving around.
I love not being bound to traffic.
Yeah.
I love the feeling of walking by gridlocked cars and just being like, I got my feet.
Well, and I think that's an important part about mobility that we don't talk about enough. Like everyone thinks it's just, it's the sense of freedom that you have also when you're in control of like getting from one place to the other. It's that the sense of hopelessness that is created by things like 2-hour lines, like that video that we saw. Does something to you. Whereas like if you're in control of how you get somewhere and you have the ability to do it yourself with your own 2 feet and your own will and your gusto, you feel so much more, you feel differently about the city, you feel differently about yourself, you feel differently. There's studies that show that children actually develop more creative independence when they are in charge of their own mobility, like kids in Copenhagen that get to like bike themselves to kindergarten, like their sense of awareness and independence and self-esteem even is so much higher.
How do you not feel like an absolute sheep? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or like, cattle. How do you not feel like cattle when you're waiting in line like that? Like when I get on the MRT at Ayala in rush hour, it's not nearly as bad as SM North, the video that we watched, right, or Quezon Ave. Like up north, it's insane going down south. And going north is always a little less congested, but you still end up waiting. I still end up waiting for like 40 minutes just to get, and then you wait 3 trains for it to go by. Yeah. And you're incensed. You want to kill someone by the end of it. And
meanwhile, you're not elderly. Meanwhile, you're not like with a baby.
Yeah, you're not
meanwhile, you're not trying pregnant. To like, you're not 9 months pregnant. And well, you know that thing where they ask you, they're like, when you can go through that one lane and it says like if you're pregnant you can go here, and I always like kind of wondered like, you know, they're like ask you for like your like ultrasound or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like,
you're like,
I've had those moments where
totally
I'm like, this line is so long. I just ate a shit ton of food. I could totally pump my stomach out and be pregnant to get through this line. Like, could totally do that. And
I do that with girls' restrooms.
Oh, you do?
If there's a line for the boys' restroom, I just walk into the girls, and then if anyone tries to stop me, I'm like, how do you know I'm not a girl?
Oh my God, gender card.
I know, right? I use it as like a discussion point. I'm just like, you don't know what's between my legs, girl.
Oh my God. And even if it's that, I could feel like it's something else anyways,
I know, and it's up to me.
And it's up to you to decide what gender you want to be.
So yeah, fuck gender binary also. And fuck the MRT.
I don't know,
no, not fuck the MRT.
No.
Fuck this guy. Oh my God. Well, okay, don't fuck him, because I don't want him to like have me killed or anything. Don't have me killed.
Right.
But this quote is amazing.
I think it says a lot.
It says so many things. This happened after the MRT exploded onto the road.
Yeah.
And when he was approached, the Department of Transportation and Communications.
Transportation and Communications,
yeah. Yeah, DOTC Secretary June Abaya was quoted as saying, "Riding the MRT is a personal decision. I won't go out of my way to convince the people to ride. It's every person's decision. This is a free country." Which to me sounds a lot like, let them have cake.
Yeah, basically.
Straight up Marie Antoinette, man. Like, you are Marie Antoinette, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, then he felt bad because the backlash was so huge, so he apparently went from hospital room to hospital room and was like sorry that me sucking at my job landed you in the hospital.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that, like, finding solutions to these problems, like, I work in urban planning, like, it's not, we should just, you know, it's gonna be a while before things really, really change, and that's how it goes, you know. Copenhagen didn't figure out how to be an amazing bikeable city overnight. Like, they'll tell you it took them 30 years. You know, we've been at it for our fair share, and we deserve better. Right. Granted, you know, it's going to take a large amount of juju at this point in time.
A lot, like almost.
You should
like,
just
like everyone out there
do a traffic dance.
Should start doing ritual trance dances.
Ritual trance dances. I would do altars. I would do
build an altar for the MRT.
Build an altar for the MRT. I would get alms. I would get special
buy
oils.
Some crystals.
Buy some crystals. I'd walk around in a circle 4 times around your altar and then
do whatever you
throw
want.
Salt up and down and back.
With you, man.
You know, like, it's just gonna be.
It's
the solutions
be magic.
aren't coming. The solutions, unfortunately, aren't coming now. There's a lot of groups doing a lot of wonderful work trying to make it happen.
There's a petition on change.org.
There's a petition on change.org, which is trying to get the public officials to at least ride public transportation so that they understand
just once a month.
What we are going through. You know.
Noi.
Yeah.
Please.
Just ride.
Like,
just ride something once a month. Public transportation.
That's
any
not
kind
like
of
a
it.
limo.
Yeah, that's not an Uber or whatever. Or like a Grab taxi.
What the fuck is an Uber?
Uber. It's that service that it's like a taxi, private car service that comes to you.
Oh, that's fancy.
Yeah. Well, and it's not that much more expensive than a taxi, and it like comes to you and it's safe. It's registered. Like, a lot of women use it so that they have like safe commuting and stuff like that. But what I was going to say is that
cabs,
you know, meanwhile, we know that, why is my word recently meanwhile? I don't understand. It's because everything's always in fucking limbo.
Because
everything is meanwhile.
There is no future.
Because
there's only now.
There's only Emma Stone.
Meanwhile, Emma Stone.
Meanwhile, Emma Stone. No, but I mean, the thing is that we know that these kind of massive, macro, large-scale infrastructure changes are going to take a long time.
Way longer than we'll be alive.
Sympathetic. Like, don't come out with a comment like that, you know?
Oh my God, it's a free country.
If I were him, I'd have been like, you know, I understand what you're going through, even if you don't, you know what I mean? Like, but even pretend like you do.
No.
Like, it doesn't cost you anything to have empathy, you know what I mean?
For 80%
for
of society.
80% of your population. I don't understand why no politician, I would go after the urban people. I would go after urban citizens and be like, I will make your daily life better. That is 80% of the goddamn population.
Dude, Bloomberg takes the mayor of New York takes the subway every day, and he is like a bazillionaire.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Yeah, I mean, everyone has their faults too. But,
of course. I mean, he's a monster.
He's
he's an absolute monster, but he's a monster who takes the subway.
But at least, you know what? He tries to be in touch. He tries to be in touch. And I think also you would be sensitive to when things happen like this. You would be like, let them find buses instead.
Yeah, right.
Well, if the MRT breaks down, there's always tricycles.
Yeah, right.
You know, like at least.
I don't even know, man.
You know, be like, we understand what's happening, and like no one deserves for it to be this way.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that like you're right. Infrastructural changes, like public transportation being a thing that doesn't feel like a bee up your ass, is going to take decades. It's going to take decades, but
not decades, but maybe a decade.
A while.
A decade.
But step one, you're right, is have some fucking sympathy and empathy.
Have some sympathy, have some empathy.
For your fellow kapwa tao, like for your fellow citizens, man.
For people who are doing this, I mean, look at our frustration level, and we're not even like, you know, commuting to a job that's 3 hours away, and if we don't get to that job, we will lose that job, and our families will not eat.
We are
like,
so lucky.
This is a privileged fucking complaining situation
like
right
those
now.
people
like,
in line in the video that you guys just watched, like, man, I can't even imagine what they're
And the thing that's so unfortunate about it is the fact that transportation is should be a beautiful part of any city.
Yeah, right.
You know, taking public transportation, we're talking about, we have really positive experiences on the MRT. Like I had this one time where I was going to, and this is why we need the MRT, and not only for the fact of, you know, it's our best way to commute, and it should be the safe and affordable way for everyone to get to where they need to get, but it's important to us as a society as well. Like you have to have that interaction with people. We can't be siloed in those, like, you know, these these like individual bullet things. You know, it's like, this is how it happens when you don't get to like be together.
Like, I love you, Julia.
You know, like I really am trying to, like, you know.
I just want you to understand me.
You can't. You just can't do it. I was trying to commute to M Cafe in Greenbelt, and I was going out for the night, and I had gotten on the LRT. The LRT broke down, so I got off the LRT, and oh no, wait, this is before that.
Is this your button-down
Oh my god! So like basically, I'm wearing. It's rush hour. I'm trying to get off the LRT. It has broken down, and I'm trying to get off the LRT to go get into a bus so I can get to Greenbelt. And I'm wearing this dress that has buttons from like the bottom all the way to the top. And it's so rush hour. And so I'm like trying to struggle to like get out of the MRT, and my top button latches onto this woman's purse, and she walks one way and I walk the other way, and the whole dress just comes undone. I'm like only wearing underwear on the bottom. Like I'm just like, and I just go like this, obviously, immediately, like just like naked in the MRT. It's just like
Demi Moore.
Like everyone's like wondering why I'm there in the first place, and I'm like, and here I am. You know, like
this is Julia.
This is what I'm presenting to you today. So like I'm standing there just completely undressed, you know, vulnerable and everything. And all these women surround me and start buttoning up my dress.
Oh my God.
And they just button up my dress and like help me along my way. And it's like,
it's amazing.
You need to have, that's what being in a city is about. Like New York is not New York without its subway.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
It is the veins. That's the veins of
it is
of
the
city.
lifeline
it's
of the
artery,
city.
Yeah.
It's how many stories are birthed from experiences on the subway. How many people have met there and like locked eyes, become star-crossed lovers. How
because
many people
at the end of the day, when you take the MRT, like, you feel like you're running up the spine of Manila. The MRT3 up EDSA, you feel like you're in Manila's spine, and you get to know it, man. It's a beautiful experience.
It's a
and I had this one experience on the MRT that was brilliant. Like, it was rush hour, so it was a nightmare. You know, like you practically, we're practically at Tokyo, where like they have the white gloves and they just push people on, you know, and like close. You know, you can't breathe, and like there's armpits in your head, and everyone's miserable. But what's different about the subway in New York is that when people get miserable in New York, they get like ornery and they become assholes. I've had so many experiences where I was scared for my life in the subway because people are so vitriolic. They're so angry, you know. Sorry.
Vitriolic.
Big word.
We need like the definition that runs at the bottom of the screen. Like vitriolic. Daniel's word of the day.
No. Okay, but here, as bad as things get, you hear people like huffing, but that's it, and they don't really huff at each other. They're just like.
That's true.
Oh, life sucks.
That's true.
You know, but I've never really had an experience. I mean, aside from the stories you hear about people like gassing, like people like pickpocketing them and shit.
Mostly it's pickpocketing.
Yeah.
But
it's mostly pickpocketing is, I can deal with pickpocketing. You know what I'm saying? No one tries to shank you for the sheer fact that you're in their way.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
and it was super crowded and everyone was kind of miserable. And we were running over Ortigas, where there's like Robinson's Galleria and that like Mother Mary that kind of looks like there are cockroaches flying around her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was looking out the window and then I just hear this girl, she was like probably 17, behind me, and she's got her earphones in on her phone and she's listening to, I forget what song, I think it was like that song Royals, like by Lorde.
No, I think wasn't it Katy Perry?
Oh, you're right, it was Firework.
Yeah.
It was Firework. And she's like,
baby, you're a firework.
Yeah. And she's listening to it. I can't really hear it, but then all of a sudden she just busts out saying like, 'cause baby, you're a firework, da 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 da, your work. Like she doesn't know the words.
Da da da
da da da da da, and everyone started singing with her.
Boom, boom.
And all of a sudden, it was like karaoke in the MRT, and like old men and like children and like business women, like everyone was singing Firework together, and I almost started to cry. It was like so poetic, and I hate Katy Perry, but I loved that song in that moment. I loved it.
But moment brought to you by Katy Perry.
Moment brought to you by Katy Perry and Emma Stone.
And Emma Stone. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you would not have that experience by yourself in your own car.
Not at all. Not at all.
You wouldn't.
All that a car teaches you to do is get somewhere fast and protect yourself from the world.
The reason why we live in cities is to be together, is to be with other people, and public transportation is the way that you do that, you know? I mean, that is how our greatest daily ritual of togetherness is public transportation.
Absolutely.
You know, and so we need it to be safe. We need it to be affordable.
We
but
need
we
it
also
to
just
not
need it
take
in
3
general.
hours of
we
standing
need it to
in
not
line.
be 3 hours, but we need it in general. It's an important part of who we are as a city. It matters. You know, like jeepneys are shitty, but they are a cultural artifact.
I fucking love jeepneys. I love jeepneys.
They're not good for the environment
or your lungs,
and they should be regulated if they were used in a proper manner. But that is like, jeepneys are a cultural expression that is completely birthed of what our city is expressed in the jeepney.
Absolutely.
You know? Like you can't.
And in the the Bayad Ho culture, the trust that goes in. So for our viewers abroad.
All viewers
I just
abroad,
love saying that every time.
International.
For our viewers in Italy.
For our viewers in Florence.
So there's this amazing phenomenon that I noticed growing up here, and I still just am so baffled by, because it's just so beautiful. Where every time you get on a jeepney, you just pass the money up, and you just say "Bayadho," and you give your money up. And not only it's supernatural. These drivers are driving jeepneys down highways, you know,
they're so talented.
Which is like a fucking true Hollywood special, just in and of itself.
I don't even know how they do it.
I don't understand it. But as they do it, they remember every single person who's given them a wage, and they give them change, right?
Yeah.
And everyone passes it down, you know, and people get pickpocketed in the jeepney all the time. Like, you gotta watch your shit. But no one will fuck with your bayad.
Totally.
Like, no one will fuck with that.
Yeah.
And it's this incredible trust that everyone just has for one another, because why would you want to do that why would you want to steal money from either a person who's in the jeepney next to you or this man who's driving you around, you know? And I think that is a gorgeous, gorgeous thing.
Totally. And I mean, the tricycle drivers in my neighborhood, there's an association of tricycle drivers on my corner. Those guys are my eyes on the street. They know if I go missing, that is the first person you should ask.
Yeah, right.
Like, you should
They
go
got your back,
ask
man.
Chick Boy on the corner of my street what happened to me, because he knows all my comings and goings. I get in there, and he knows if I tell him I'm going to, my World Bank job, or I'm going to my NGO job, and he takes me to the right side of the metro.
Cheers to the Toda, man. Cheers
totally,
to the Toda.
we need these people. Like, this is what makes our city. These are the public transportation, infrastructure is completely what he brings me to the market. He knows where I'm going to go for my glass supplier. He knows if sometimes I'm just coming home from the laundry and I have all my laundry, and he just like takes me to bring my laundry to the house because it's like too heavy for me, and sometimes won't even ask for pay.
Amazing.
Like, this is the kind of thing that we need. This is the relationships that our city thrives on. It's what makes neighborhoods, it's what makes communities. Like, we can't do without it. Like, we cannot be a society, not just because of environmental issues or the way, efficiency. We lose billions of dollars a year anyways on traffic. Those are all really important issues, but we also need it because it's what creates relationships between people.
Exactly.
And that's
it's like, okay, so
otherwise, what are we doing in a city? I should just go live in the province.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I should just go live in Laguna.
You come to the city because you love the feeling of being around people, and you love the energy that it gives. And yes, transportation is about getting from point A to point B, but how are you going to get there? Yeah. Do you want to get there in a bulletproof vest, or do you want to get there with like an open heart that that comes into contact with other people, And
I think basically what we're saying is that when you embrace what public transportation means to a city, aside from just the fact that it's to be a safe, affordable, convenient, efficient option, obviously, those are all, that
doesn't use fossil fuel.
That doesn't derail, you know what I mean? That doesn't derail at its most basic function. It's like, we need these systems because that's what helps us, to be the city that we want to be.
That's what makes us the city.
That's what makes us. And I think...
so I think the solution is EDSA, what? I mean, how many EDSAs have there been? 3, 4, 16? EDSA 16.
EDSA 16 revolution.
Let's aim for EDSA 16 revolution.
Where EDSA, I think we should just all occupy EDSA and just like stand on it till it's a total standstill, and then we can like bike and walk up. That could be our real main artery. You know what I mean?
Get rid of the fucking cars everywhere,
Yeah, I think that's what I think we're talking about. I think it's like we need these other systems to function so we can get out of our goddamn cars.
Yeah.
We need to get out of the cars.
And like touch some flesh.
And like be around each other.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure so many people disagree with us.
Well, fuck them. They're not on
people
fairness.
People are tired of like touching each other in the streets of Manila, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to be held.
So Daniel just finished his certified Reiki.
Oh yeah. So we can cap it off by saying this because I think we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But what like.
So I'm wondering, so you just got certified in Reiki. I'm wondering, you can Reiki people and like redistribute energies of people.
Oh, you can Reiki anything. You can Reiki yourself.
Can you Reiki
the city? You can Reiki the MRT. You can
Reiki
the city.
the MRT?
Dude, it's beautiful. I got together with a couple of friends the other day, and we just like sat around and Reiki'd and sent love and healing to Gaza. You can do it remotely.
Okay.
And
I think
that is the solution. I mean, until we get to EDSA 16.
Yeah. Or until
Julie and I
figure out how to
beseech you, come up with something magical, because
we need a lot of magic.
We need some juju. We need some magic to fix the transportation situation right now.
I think so, and we'll do our parts as well. Daniel on his mind on the urban planning side. I promise you, we are trying to make this different. For sure.
Julia's trying.
But meanwhile,
I just bitch and moan.
But meanwhile, we need a lot of magic.
But I will Reiki the public transportation, and yes, I'll post a ritual on our blog. I'll devise a ritual for all of you guys.
Yeah, so that
we'll create a blog.
It's going to be, the results will be super fast.
They'll be astounding.
They'll be astounding results.
Astounding.
All right, well, for those of you commuting out there tonight and tomorrow and the rest of the days, please be safe.
Stay strong. Our hearts are with you.
Stay strong. Our hearts and our thoughts and our energies are with you.
We love you.
We love you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
On any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.